Welcome to our podcast series on passive fire protection by the Encon Group. The series aims to cover a range of topical issues from regulation and compliance through to product solutions. And we return today with Neville White, our Business Development Director for Fire Protection. Thank you, Neville, for joining us again on the red chair. In the last podcast we did, you wanted to focus specifically on our role of the distributor in the context of passive fire protection and building safety and the important role we play in the supply chain. Today you wanted to focus specifically on builders merchants, which is obviously a key customer group of our business, but also one that perhaps would benefit from understanding more about this area of fire protection and how it could impact, or how it does impact their business. It is a complex area. So it is something that should be on all our radar, or everybody in the supply chain should be looking at this. So you've raised this topic. You wanted to bring it to today's podcast. Why do you feel this is an important issue?
I've been, as I've said in previous podcasts, I've been in the industry for a little while, and I think when you talk about the supply of products into the industry, a lot of the distributors know the products. They're asked for a specific product, and generally they'll supply the product they're actually asked for. I think it becomes a little bit more difficult when you get to the merchant sector. Builders merchants are particularly strong, I think, on the groundwork supply products, dry lining type of products, roofing type of products. They're generally dealing with tier 2, tier 3 smaller contractors, which is absolutely fine. But when it comes to fire protection, I think it's a little bit different. They basically have three choices, I believe, when asked about fire protection products. They either supply the product they keep in stock, which is just generally a single source of manufacturer. They may actually go to a distributor and actually ask to get that product, or they may go to the manufacturer to ask for that particular product, which is all very good. My experience tends to be that they will supply the product they've actually got in stock, which may not always be the right product. Perhaps it's a little bit risky in terms of the supply of that product for a passive fire protection application.
Okay, and of course, I mean, you mentioned that merchants deal primarily with tier 2 contractors, and quite a lot of their projects are the RMI market and the home improvement market. Yeah. Do you think that has an impact on how they're thinking about fire protection? Not that it should, but because of the type of solutions that might be needed for those kind of projects.
Yes, and I think also that they're supplying a large range of products, aren't they? You know, everything from screws to bricks to sand to everything. And when somebody comes and asks for a specific product, like a fire protection type of product, it's a little bit more difficult because they've only got so much space and so much room to be able to store products. So therefore, they'll store a limited range of products, and when they get asked for it, of course most people try to push themselves down a particular route of a product they'd actually had in stock. So I think there is a degree of understanding of what fire protection products are when they come, because not every product is the same. Each product performs differently, and I think we as an industry need to help out here so that there's a better understanding of when they're being asked for something, what they actually supply. And I think they've got to take that on board themselves. I think with Golden Thread coming around, and we know it's going to go from conception all the way to installation. If somebody comes and asks for a specific product, and you're supplying something different, but you don't know the implications of you supplying something different, that can have a major effect in terms of what we're trying to do here.
And what would you say that the main product solutions they would be looking at, or would be most applicable to merchants based on their customer audience?
As in applications?
Applications, yeah. What would be the most common applications they'd be looking at, considering their markets are predominantly RMI?
Yeah, and if we look at it, probably it's 30 and 60-minute applications that they're getting asked for, and the majority of them, I imagine, will be partitions, ceilings, soffits, those type of application areas. I think one of the the challenge is that there's a lot of products out in the marketplace that class themselves as general purpose products. And the challenge with general purpose products is, well, everybody thinks they're general purpose, but in reality, products are fire tested for the applications we've talked about. So therefore, they should be supplying those products that are actually asked for. And I'm not saying they don't all the time, but I think there is a tendency to supply what you have in stock.
And I think we need to bear in mind that fire protection is such a complex area as well. There's so many things to be thinking about. Obviously, there's a lot of regulation coming into play, and certainly it should be on the radar of everybody in the supply chain. But it is a complex area. So, what should builders merchants selling fire protection products be considering? What should they be thinking about?
I think they've got to be made aware, first of all, of what the golden thread is and what the implications of that actually are. So I think that's a good starting point. Once we sort of get that information across to them, or they take that information on board, the next thing is to actually look at what the different products are that are out there on the marketplace, so that they have an understanding of what the differences are between them and what they potentially do and what they don't potentially do. Yeah, so I think in terms of the builders merchants have to look at a number of things. I think first of all, with the golden thread, they have to understand what that means, and once they do, they'll have a view and understanding of the implications of supplying a product out there into the marketplace. I think we need to help in terms of product knowledge, in terms of different products that are out there in the market and the different applications that are out there, so that they have an understanding. I think it's really difficult if you're a builder's merchant, because people are coming and asking for so many different types of products, and you're not going to be knowledgeable on all the products. We know what it's like as a distributor ourselves, and when people come and ask us about product, we have to go away and investigate a little bit into sometimes what those products are. And it's no different here, but multiply that by 10 times as a builder's merchant. I think that's a really difficult thing to do. So I think it's, first of all, making them aware of the implications. Secondly, we need to help them in terms of provide them the information, what the products are, what the differences is between those products, who the manufacturers are of those particular products. And I do think it wouldn't be a bad idea if a training scheme, some sort of training program, was made available to builders merchants on passive fire protection, even if it's a short 30-minute type of module, just so that when somebody joins, they're given this module and they have a better understanding of the implications.
Absolutely. And I think, builders merchants are a very important customer group for us. And in our role as distributor, what can we do to help? Now, obviously, you mentioned about training and knowledge building, but what can we do as a supplier to our builders merchant customers?
I do think we have a degree of duty to actually talk to them on a regular basis to make them aware of what some of these issues are. So I think that's the first thing we do. As a distributor, we have a range of products which we can supply to them, so that it is a case of them knowing that they can go somewhere to get a product, rather than having to sell what they've necessarily got in stock all the time. Distributors obviously do break the bulk, and they break that down those for customers as well. It's about being flexible on delivery. It's about supplying those smaller quantities, as I've already mentioned. And I do think that the builders merchants, especially the BMF, for example, should have an involvement with the ASFP and some of the working groups that are currently running. So I sit on one which is about competence, and at the moment our members on there don't actually include anybody from builders merchants. So I think it would be a good idea for somebody from the BMF or something like that to actually join that working group, so they can understand the message that we're trying to get across, so that message then can be relayed across to their members.
Absolutely. And also we mustn't forget that we work with a number of leading manufacturer brands that support us in a number of ways with their technical information and technical guidance and knowledge. And I suppose in our role as a distributor, we can facilitate that as well for our builders merchants customers to make sure that they, as part of their training and learning, that we can facilitate some of that through our manufacturer partners.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think it's something that we're looking at and something we need to start introducing so that they know that opportunity is there, that sort of program is there for them to actually use the knowledge that we've got to actually help them to spread the knowledge that they've got.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Neville. I think it was an important area to address because builders merchants are a key part of the supply chain. Fire protection is very topical and it's not going to go away anytime soon. It does affect all of us in the supply chain. So it's important that everyone is aware of the regulation, the developments, the significance, understanding the product solutions, because only collectively can we make sure that things actually do change for the better.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if we can play some role, whether that's as ENCON or part of the ASFP, I think that's an important part. So thank you.
Thank you very much.